This is Team Stone's module for the Grand Challenge of Securing Cyberspace. This is the teacher video guide for the lesson. Our lesson focuses on teaching the students about multi-factor authentication. Start by discussing cybersecurity and account security as described in the pre-activity section of the instruction guide. Then pass out the worksheet and pull up the first slide of the PowerPoint. Read off the entries in the table and have the students copy it down onto their worksheet. Be sure to add examples and analogies to each entry, such as the ones included in this section of the instruction guide. Ask the students to brainstorm ways to protect an account and have them write them on the worksheet. Then ask them to share their answers. Write their answers on a whiteboard or type and display them with a projector. Have the students write down their 3 favorite security measures on the worksheet. For the activity, start by dividing the students into multiple groups of around 3 to 6 members. For this example, there will only be 2 teams of 2. Each team will be assigned a team number. Tell them each to make a text-based password that all members are able to memorize to protect a pile of candy that belongs to the team. An example of an appropriate password can be found in the activity section of the instruction guide. Once a team has created their password, they should tell it and their team number to the instructor, who will keep track of the information throughout the game. You may need to assist the groups in making a password if they seem to be struggling. There are approximate times for each section of the activity listed in Appendix B of the instruction guide. Announce when there is only 1 minute left. Here are our 2 teams, Team 1 on the left and Team 2 on the right. They will now make their passwords. Team 1 will now give their password to the instructor.
Okay, so that's cookie. Got it. Okay.
For the next part of the activity, randomly reassign 1 member of each group to another team. These new teams are permanent for the remainder of the activity. Inform the students that since another team now knows their password, they need to make new additional security measures. They cannot change the password from the first step. Move on to the second slide of the PowerPoint. While they are creating new security measures, teams are allowed to spy on and collaborate with each other. Assist the groups in making a security measure if they seem to be struggling. An example of an appropriate security measure can be found in the activities section of the instruction guide. Once they have created their security measures, they need to go to the instructor and tell them their team number, password, and perform the new security measures. In order to keep track of each team's candy stash, each team will be assigned a point value. We recommend starting each team with 4 points, and we suggest each point representing 1 piece of candy per team member. Be sure to announce when they have 1 minute left. After teams have made security measures, they can try to guess the other team's passwords and security measures in order to access their candy stash. If they are successful, the attacking team gains a point and the defending team loses a point. Announce when they have 1 minute left. Now the new team members are creating their security measures to protect their candy stash. Notice that Team 2 is spying on Team 1. Team 1 will now tell their security measure to the instructor. Team 2 will attempt to guess the password and security measure of Team 1.
I'm Team 2 and I'm hacking Team 1 and the password is cookie cutter, right?
Yeah, you got the points.
Yeah, thank you.
Since Team 2 successfully guessed the security measure and password for Team 1, Team 2 will gain a point and Team 1 will lose a point. At the end of the activity, the instructor will randomly choose a member from each team to give the password and security measure.
My team's password is Cookie cutter.
Yeah, that looks right.
If the team member incorrectly states their password or security measure, their team will lose a point. At the end, when the instructor hands out the candy for this example, each member of Team 1 will get 3 pieces of candy since they scored 3 points, and each member of Team 2 will get 5 pieces of candy since they scored 5 points. Discuss the activity with the students as described in the post-activity section of the instruction guide. Change to the third slide in the presentation. Define multi-factor authentication and use examples to describe it. Have them write down the definition on the worksheet. Ask the students to predict the results of the game if they were to play it again, and write those predictions on the worksheet. Discuss their answers as described in the post-activity section of the instruction guide. Ask the students to answer the conclusion question to ensure that they understand the lesson of the module.